In life, we often make decisions very quickly. Sometimes we hear someone's opinion and immediately assume that they are wrong. We believe that our way of thinking is the only correct way, and anyone who thinks differently must be mistaken. But the truth is that every person sees the world through their own experiences, understanding, and circumstances. Because of this, the same situation can look very different to different people. What seems wrong to us might actually make perfect sense from someone else's point of view. Today's story is about a small boy whose simple answer teaches everyone an important lesson about perspective and understanding before judging others. Once upon a time, in a quiet and peaceful town, there was a small school where many children came every day to learn and grow. Among those children was a boy named Oliver. Oliver was not the loudest or most talkative student in the class. In fact, he was usually very quiet and calm. While other children liked to answer questions quickly and show how smart they were, Oliver preferred to listen carefully and think before speaking. Because of this habit, some of his classmates thought that Oliver was slow or not very intelligent. They believed that if someone did not answer quickly, it meant they did not understand the question. But the truth was very different. Oliver simply liked to think deeply before giving his answer. One day, during a math lesson, their teacher, Mr. Brown, decided to ask the students a simple question. Mr. Brown was known as a kind and patient teacher who always tried to make learning fun and interesting for his students. To make the lesson more engaging, he placed a few pencils on his desk and turned toward the class with a smile. He said, "Children, imagine I give you 4 pencils. Then I give you 2 more pencils. Tell me, how many pencils will you have in total?" The students looked at the pencils and immediately began raising their hands. Many of them confidently shouted the answer together, 6. Mr. Brown nodded because the answer was mathematically correct. After hearing the class respond, Mr. Brown looked toward Oliver, who was sitting quietly near the window. The teacher knew that Oliver rarely spoke unless he had thought carefully about the question. "Oliver," he said kindly, "what do you think the answer is?" Oliver looked at the pencils on the desk for a moment. He seemed to be thinking deeply. After a short pause, he calmly replied, 7, sir. As soon as Oliver said this, the entire classroom burst into laughter. Some students whispered to each other, and others giggled loudly because they believed Oliver had made a very simple mistake. Mr. Brown gently shook his head and said in a calm voice, "Oliver, if I give you 4 pencils and then 2 more pencils, the total will be 6. But Oliver did not appear nervous or embarrassed. Instead, he respectfully looked at his teacher and repeated his answer with confidence. 7, sir. Now Mr. Brown became curious. He thought perhaps Oliver had misunderstood the question, so he decided to repeat it again, this time speaking slowly and clearly. "Let's try once more," he said. "Imagine you have 4 pencils. Then I give you 2 more pencils. How many pencils will you have in total?" Oliver smiled slightly and again replied, 7, sir. The class became quiet because everyone wanted to hear Oliver explain his answer. Mr. Brown walked closer to him and asked gently, "Oliver, can you tell us why you think the answer is 7? Oliver slowly opened his school bag and took out a small pencil from inside. Holding it up, he said softly, "Because I already had 1 pencil in my bag before you gave me the other pencils." For a moment, the classroom became completely silent. Mr. Brown looked at Oliver and suddenly realized something very important. Oliver was not wrong at all. He had simply answered the question based on his own situation. The teacher smiled warmly and turned toward the class. "Children," he said, "this is a very important lesson for all of us. In mathematics, the answer might be 6. But Oliver answered according to what he already had. That means his thinking was not wrong. He simply looked at the problem from a different perspective." The students who were laughing just a few moments earlier now felt a little embarrassed. They realized they had judged Oliver too quickly without understanding his reasoning. Mr. Brown continued speaking to the class. He explained that in life, people often make the same mistake. When someone gives an answer that is different from ours, we immediately believe that they must be wrong. But sometimes they are simply seeing something that we cannot see. Every person has their own experiences, their own thoughts, and their own understanding of situations. Because of this, 2 people can look at the same problem and still see completely different answers. That day, the students learned a lesson that was far more valuable than mathematics. They learned the importance of listening carefully before judging someone. They learned that different thinking does not always mean wrong thinking. Sometimes it simply means someone is looking at the situation from another angle. From that day forward, the students began to respect Oliver's way of thinking, because they realized that quiet minds sometimes notice things that others miss. My friends, the same thing happens in our lives as well. Many arguments and misunderstandings occur simply because we refuse to see things from another person's perspective. We believe our thinking is the only correct way, but the world is full of different viewpoints. Sometimes the answer you never expected may be hidden in someone else's words. So the next time someone disagrees with you, take a moment before judging them. Try to understand their situation, their experience, and their perspective. You might discover something new that changes the way you see the world. If you enjoyed this story and learned something valuable from it, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who might need this message today. Also tell me in the comments if you have ever experienced a moment where someone's different thinking helped you understand something in a new way. Thank you for listening, and I will see you again in the next story.